Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Wolters World, and today we are in Minnesota. We're actually in Duluth, Minnesota at the Glen Sheenan Cognan Estates. It's this historic home here in Duluth. It is really gorgeous, and the whole state is really gorgeous. It's shockingly gorgeous. And that's why today what we have for you are the 10 things that are going to shock you when you come to visit Minnesota. And the first shock we're going to talk about, they even have it on their license plate. It is the land of 10,000 lakes. The natural beauty here in Minnesota is phenomenal with the lakes. I mean, we're here at Lake Superior. Look, we've been going down the scenic North Shore Drive up here. I mean, it is just gorgeous when you come to Minnesota. You really get back to nature, seeing the animals, going on the hikes and the skiing and taking the snowmobiles out in the winter and all kinds of stuff. And really, that's one thing that shocks people when they come here is just how much nature they have. And you really can't get in that backwoods and really explore and get back to nature when you're here, seeing the trees. We're here in the fall when the trees are changing color, and it is just gorgeous. That's the first thing that shocks people, just how beautiful it is here. The second thing that shocks people when they're here is how friendly the people are in Minnesota. I mean, it's kind of a joke that some people have about the Minnesotans, you know, how they're really friendly and over the top friendly, and if you bump into them, they say sorry. It is true. We've met so many great people when we've been traveling around Minnesota, from all over Minnesota, from up here in Duluth and farther north to Two Harbors, out of Minneapolis and other places. And really, the people here are fantastic. So if you have any questions or you want to just strike up a conversation with somebody, go right ahead. And I'll be honest with you, the locals will probably strike up a conversation with you first, so it is kind of funny just how awesome the people are here. The third thing that might shock you is how much those really friendly Minnesota people love Minnesota. Okay, how many times you will see people wearing their Minnesota Vikings t-shirt or the University of Minnesota, or we're here in the University of Minnesota Duluth. Everybody's got their UMD stuff on. They love Minnesota here, okay? And the thing is, it's kind of funny, is there's a rumor that they never leave because they love the place so much. So it is kind of funny of how much they really love Minnesota here. And it's funny because it seems like every little town has their own sports bar, and every single sports bar has, hey, we have a happy hour during the Vikings game, no matter when it is, okay? So that's kind of a shocking thing out there. The fourth thing that's going to shock you when you come here is how clean it is. I mean, seriously, Minnesota, they keep this place spotless. I mean, literally, we were walking through Duluth. I actually saw more dead birds and gutters than I saw trash on the street. I saw 2 dead birds. I saw no trash. Even the porta potties here, I mean, it was a clean porta potty. When was the last time you even heard of a clean porta potty, let alone, you know, not one you don't want to vomit in? I mean, it was crazy how clean they keep it here. And that kind of goes into how proud they are of their state and how much they love Minnesota. And you see it kind of transfer. People clean up after themselves. They fix things up, and the homes are kept up. I mean, it is really cool just how clean it is here. I mean, we were in Duluth underneath the overpass waiting for some stuff, and even underneath the overpass in the city, it was clean. I mean, it's crazy clean here, okay? Now, the fifth thing that'll shock you when you hear is how safe it is here in Minnesota. I mean, honestly, the crime levels are a lot lower here, and when you go around, you don't really feel too worried when you're walking through town. Now, of course, Minneapolis, other places, there are some places you might not want to go, but in general, this state, you feel so safe. You're like, I'm more worried about a bear attack than a Minnesotan doing anything bad to me. And the thing is that people really do look out for people when they are here, and they'll say, hey, be careful of that, you know, that hiking trail there, that's gonna be a little dangerous, and don't go to that part of town and stuff like that. But honestly, how safe you feel in Minnesota, that's one thing is we love coming up here and, you know, bringing the kids up here, because you really do feel safe when you are here. And it is shocking how safe you feel compared to other parts of the US. Now, the sixth thing that's going to shock you is when you're driving around Minnesota, you're going to notice people are hauling stuff all the time. You don't see a lot of semi-trucks, but you will see a lot of trucks, people's trucks, hauling a snowmobile or a four-wheeler, or, you know, we saw so many weird things with people hauling. A school bus had a hauler on the back of it, and it is kind of funny when you drive around, like, well, no semis, but they're hauling things, and it is kind of cool when you see it. You're like, oh, look, there's another person hauling something. Oh, a VW hauling something. Okay. And it is kind of funny, all the stuff you do see on the highway in terms of people hauling. Another shot that comes from the highway is when you're in Minneapolis and St. Paul. The shock of there's stoplights to get onto the highway. Like, literally, you come out of the airport, we rented our car, we came out of the airport, we're coming down, and like, there's a stoplights. Getting on the highway, we're like, wait, what are we supposed to do here? And it says, oh, 1 car on green. You're like, what? 1 car on green. You think about it, oh, I see, when the light flashes real green, 1 car can go from each side to get on that highway. And it is kind of, for a first-time visitor to Minneapolis, you're kind of like sitting there like, what's going on? Don't worry, no one's going to honk at you to hurry up, because they are very friendly. And I guess another shock with that driving thing in there is the people drive like really close to the speed limit, which if you come from faster driving states, it gets a little frustrating sometime, okay? Now, the 8th thing that's going to shock you when you come here is, look, I'm here in October and it is beautiful. But I know in November and December and January and February and March, there's going to be a lot of snow. Like, there is insane snow in Minnesota. In Minneapolis, they have, 50, 55 inches of snow a year. Here in Duluth, 86 inches of snow. And the thing is, they're so used to the cold here, when you talk to people in the winter, what's the temperature like? Oh, it's above today. Not above freezing, but above 0 in Fahrenheit. So it's 50 above, because that's how they relate it sometimes to the weather, how cold it is, because it gets freezing cold here. International Falls, Minnesota, don't go in there in winter. It's a little chilly. Now, the thing that's cool is Minnesota does a great job of getting rid of the snow. Whereas, I'm from Illinois and we get a little bit of snow. It takes forever for the people to get the roads clean. The roads here in Minnesota, when it snows, you can go out on the highway right away. In 20 minutes, it seems like it's cleared off. And that's the difference, is they're prepared for it, so the snow gets out of here. But it doesn't change the fact that there's a lot of snow and it is really cold when you are here, okay? But they do have the skywalk systems, and in Minneapolis, you're walking underground all the time or up above, here in Duluth as well. So you don't have to deal with the cold so much, but it is there, okay? Now, the 9th thing that's going to shock you when you come here is the fact that you can't buy liquor on Sundays. Yes, they have restricted liquor laws here in Minnesota, so you can't actually go to the liquor store and get liquored up. You got to do your shopping on Saturday. Or if you're here in Duluth, you just take the bridge over and go to Wisconsin and go get your liquor in Wisconsin on Sunday, okay? So when you're getting ready for that Vikings game on Sunday, make sure you buy all the liquor on Saturday so you're ready for Sunday Fun Day. Okay? And the 10th thing that's going to shock you when you come to Minnesota is, we make fun of the Minnesota accent. You actually do hear that accent quite a bit. Because I've been in New York and Chicago lately, and those kind of traditional accents you hear about Chicago and New York and stuff like that, you don't hear so much anymore. Whereas here in Minnesota, you still hear the Minnesotan accent. Now, it's not as much as it used to be, but you do actually hear it, and the people are really cool about it. But you probably don't want to make your own Minnesota accent when you talk to them, but you do hear it when you are here. So anyway, those are just 10 little quick fun shocks that we had when we've been here in Minnesota, having a great time. This place is fantastic to bring your family, whether you're hitting the Twin Cities in Minneapolis, St. Paul, you come up here to Duluth, or farther up to Two Harbors. I mean, there's so many great natural beauties here in this state, and we really do recommend you coming up here. We've got a video on what to see and do in Duluth, all kinds of other stuff, all on our website at woltersworld.com. We're also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, of course, YouTube, and we really appreciate your likes and subscriptions. And if you're thinking about going to Minnesota, it is a good choice. This place is fantastic. Anyway, I'm going to go check out some more of the cool stuff here. Have a great time, and don't be shocked if you fall in love with Minnesota, because this place is great. It actually got my wife to say, you know what, we could move to a cold weather place if it's in Minnesota. Anyway, bye from Minnesota. Oh, and there's one more shock. The smoked fish. There's smoked fish, if you haven't had it, it will be shocking the first time you have it and how much they do eat it here and like it. Not everybody, but just know the smoked stuff, it is available. So try some if you can. Lugerfish, you could be shocked on your own for that one. Bye from Minnesota.